Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. How's it going, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions, and join me today for your advanced look at the latest printing of the Wonder Woman by Gail Simone Omnibus from DC Comics. So let's go ahead and get started. And welcome back, everybody. Now, we have here the latest printing of the Wonder Woman by Gail Simone Omnibus. And funny enough, I think right before I got the email from DC that this was coming back to print, I had gotten so many emails or messages on my videos asking what were the chances of this book being reprinted. And, well, I guess now you all know the chances were really good. So yes, this had been previously printed before. As a matter of fact, here is the original printing that came out in 2020. Exact same cover, font, the DC logo hasn't changed, colors look identical, and the cover is provided by Nicola Scott, who of course had worked with Gail Simone on many projects, not just Wonder Woman. And here we have the spine of the book, Wonder Woman by Gail Simone Omnibus, DC logo, just big bold letters there. And then the backs of the books, font looking the same, the picture of Wonder Woman right there is identical, what it collects looks the same. Even the actual design they have for the back of the book looks like, I always call it like a kitchen countertop. Yes, I'm so classy like that. But really like almost like marbles, what it feels like. Or looks like, not feels like. ISBN down here. And the retail price of the original one being $75. The retail price of the new printing is $100. Underneath, the dust jackets. It's that design, but first let's look in here. Torn from the world, thrown to the edges of another, and then you have the creators over here. So this tells you just a little bit about the book, and that image right there by Terry and Rachel Dodson. You have Gail Simone, Bernard Chang, Aaron Lopresti, and Matt Ryan over here. But yes, there's that marble design, looking a little bit darker than over here. This looks a little lighter, honestly. Wonder Woman by Gail Simone. Yeah, the lettering is just a little bit darker. And then the back of the book right here with that design. Even the blue looking a little sharper. Now it looks like it's just a little bit slimmer over here, the new printing, than the original printing. And that's probably due to the paper stock. And before I take this completely off, I'm going to put it back on. I'm going to show you exactly where it fits into the reading order of Wonder Woman if you have them collected in omnibus editions. So this is where I'm putting it, right after the Phil Jimenez run. Hopefully one day we'll get a Greg Rucka omnibus. I would love his stuff collected in omnibus format, as well as the William Messner Loebs, but here's hoping. Alright, we're going to crack this book open, talk a little bit about what came before this book, and honestly, I think it's time to do a Wonder Woman reading order. People have asked for Wonder Woman, and also the Avengers and Wolverine, so after I finish the Transformers reading order, it's going to be interesting what gets voted. And you can vote on our Patreon for those reading orders. But I'm going to crack this open. We're going to look at the artwork and talk a little bit about the stories collected in here. Okay, let's go ahead and crack this open. Here we have your end sheets with that marble look to it. Wonder Woman by Gail Simone. Anytime I say marble, I always remember the Marvel Masterworks. And there's Cheetah and Wonder Woman. And then your credits right here. Now, before reading this book, the books that I suggest reading, if you want to be a completist without having to read a huge backlog of Wonder Woman, otherwise I would tell you to start with the Wonder Woman by George Perez book, but there is the Who is Wonder Woman deluxe edition that just came out. This is the first book you need to read. And then Amazon's Attack, which, I'll be honest with you, not so good. And then the Jodi Picoult run. And this leads into Wonder Woman, because all of this takes place after Infinite Crisis. There really wasn't a hard reboot like after Flashpoint and we got the New 52, but there were some status quo changes. This kind of goes back to the basics. So here are the credits. You have Gail Simone, you have Bernard Chang, Aaron Lopresti, Chris Batista, Fernando Dagnino, Terry Dodson, Travis Moore, just to name a few of the pencilers. And then you have inkers over here on the right-hand side, like Bernard Chang and Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan actually inking a lot of this book. John Dale and Rachel Dotson, of course, inking Terry's work. And you have your colorists over here, like Brad Anderson and Hi-Fi, and then John Hill and Travis Landman are your letterers for the most part. And then an introduction by Mercedes Lackey, who is a fictional writer, or science fiction writer. And then we kick it off with issue number 14 of Wonder Woman. So collected in here is Wonder Woman 14 through 44, the 2008 series. So it was relaunched right after Infinite Crisis. So that's where that Alan Heinberg run came from. And then issue 600 is also collected in here, as well as Sensation Comics featuring Wonder Woman number 1. So the book has a total of 816 pages. And you have Terry and Rachel Dotson kick off this particular book. And the story's broken down by Wonder Woman trying to go back to Themyscira, because the previous writers had set up, like I said, a new status quo, right? Like Wonder Woman was using the alter ego Diana Prince again. She was pretty much helping out, or honestly, working with the Department of Metahuman Affairs. And she actually started a relationship with a gentleman named Tom Tresser, who goes by Nemesis. And at the beginning of this, you get a little bit of that. It kind of catches you up to speed as to what's happening here. Like, Athena has removed all the Amazons off of Themyscira, with the exception of Hippolyta. And I think there's 4 other warriors that pretty much make a barrier in Themyscira to keep people away. So the first story arc in here is called The Circle, and it's all about the secret society of supervillains. They've made a bunch of Nazi soldiers using Captain Nazi's powers. And what these soldiers are going to do is they're going to go and invade Themyscira and take over it. And this is where it becomes really interesting. We also get some Gorilla City characters that end up joining her supporting cast. You also have Trevor back, but also Etta. Etta comes back in a different type of role. She is now a lieutenant colonel. And what I was going to say is that it gets interesting because Wonder Woman, when she sees that Themyscira is losing, she starts begging and asking other gods for help. This is where she kind of ventures outside of the typical gods that she's used to, praying from the pantheon. So she goes to like various different pantheons to help her pass Athena's barrier that she's put up. So she ends up getting the help of a Polynesian god. Oh, what is it? Cain? Oh, the Cain something. And that's where this takes place. So she goes in there, and while trying to keep the secret identity of Diana Prince, she's now back in Themyscira fighting off these Nazis. Then we have a couple of issues back here that kind of sets up what ends up happening towards the end of this run. And those are drawn by Bernard Chang, and it does feature some Green Lantern characters. But this takes Wonder Woman outside of her home world, and she ends up going to the home world of the Khunds, who end up playing a bigger part later on. Like I said, this particular story comes back later. Then we get to Aaron Lopresti's run, and this run is really, really awesome because if you're a fan of like the old school DC fantasy heroes, one in particular I remember collecting when I was a kid, mainly because I found them at Dr. Comics at a flea market, you're going to love this run. So this is the story about how Wonder Woman and Beowulf and Claw, that's right, Claw makes a comeback, and Stalker, team up to fight this demon called the Girth. And Diana Prince's boss at the DMA thinks Diana and Etta are nothing but Amazon spies. So they kind of set out this investigation to prove that they're spies and, walking the world of man. So she has this internal battle with them, and there's Claw. Oh, man, this is such a fun series. I really enjoyed this one. they're making a Wonder Woman movie through here, but it's not all as it seems because the person kind of running the movie is the Queen of Fables, and she's kind of turning everybody on Wonder Woman and making her her own worst enemy. Those are drawn by Bernard Chang. And then we get this really, really dark storyline right here. I think this is where Gail Simone just cuts loose. It's called Rise of the Olympian, and this features a new character. Okay, so first of all, there's a couple of things going on here. Yes, she's still part of the DMA, and she's still pretending to be Diana Prince. Only a few people know her secret identity. But the important thing about this run is that we are introduced to this new character. And this new character is called Genocide. And Genocide is this ruthless warrior that was created by the Society. So again, the Society wants to take down Wonder Woman no matter the cost. That just hates women. So she is targeting women. And I mean, it gets dark. Like she goes to a shopping mall and just kills everybody here. Well, mostly the women. And Wonder Woman has to put a stop to her. But she gets her ass handed to her by this new creature. So then, of course, it's up to the supporting cast to come in and help her out. There's this amazing scene in here where you see almost a little scene where there's like betrayal, and not everything, of course, is what it seems to be. But one of her supporting cast members can't ever look at her the same way because she let something happen, and it goes on for quite a while. I mean, you get some badass designs of these costumes again. And I really enjoyed this particular storyline. Now, while she's dealing with that, Zeus has decided to create a new race of warriors because he feels like Wonder Woman and the Amazons haven't done a good job showing the world peace. So instead of working his problems out with the Amazons, he decides to create a new race of warriors. And one of them in particular will play a bigger part in the next story arc. So this kind of sets up the next story arc while she's dealing with this Genocide character. Well, not just her, but also Donna Troy and Cassie are dealing with this character. We also have some returning villains. Now, for the most part in this story arc, it's Aaron Lopresti drawing that story. The next storyline after this big one here is kind of a reunion of sorts between Wonder Woman and Black Canary. So they team up to investigate this underground metahuman blood sport ring that's going around. That could involve some of the members of the Society that got away from the previous arc. So they go undercover and they end up going overseas. And it's just nice to see Gail Simone write the character Black Canary again. Yes, there's a couple of stereotypical girl talks in here that may seem a little weird, but honestly, it kind of fits the characters, though. And it's just a nice little break from all the horrible things that were happening and are about to happen. Because the next story arc goes back to the beginning where it kind of all started, and then it goes back to that mission that Zeus had for creating this new race of beings and making Achilles the leader of them. So in this big story arc, it's pretty much Zeus urging all his new Amazons, this new race that he's created, to get rid of all of the war around the world. And there's a lot of betrayal in that particular storyline that I didn't see coming, but that's why I said it was really nice to see that break in between the big dark story arcs, because this is more of a serious tone than the Black Canary and Wonder Woman team up. And before we get to the finale, we get the fight between Power Girl and Wonder Woman, and you can find out why they're fighting. And then we get to the finale. And the finale pretty much brings it back to that issue with the Green Lantern. This is an alien invasion that is coming to Earth. It's a female society of warriors, and they have come here to Earth with the Green Lantern technology. And yeah, this is how Diana has to stop them. And one of my favorite things in here, and it's probably due to the fact that George Perez is no longer with us, is this little short story. But it's just got to, like, it's so good to see characters from George Perez's run being written by Gail Simone, and I think it's a wonderful send-off to these characters of Vanessa. Vanessa and Diana have a beautiful moment together in here. I love that speech towards the end. You do get the short story in here from, this is the Gotham City story, and it features artwork by Ethan Van Sciver, and then you get the story from Wonder Woman 600 back here. And in the back matter is the variant covers to this one right here. This is one by Michael Golden, Aaron LePresley drawing Genocide there, Frank Quitely, Carrie Nord, Marcos Martin, Josh Middleton, Scott Collins, Francis Manipool. So beautiful covers. Bernard Chang, the sketchbook here by Terry Dodson, mainly the cover sketchbooks before Rachel inked them, and then bio on the creators. 816 pages. Let's check out the binding. So this one has 816 pages. That's your eye right there. We've seen worse, but we've also seen a lot better, especially in recent years. So we're going to do a comparison here in a second. I want to say the paper stock in this particular omnibus is the same type of paper stock that has been used in a couple of the last few DC Omnis. It's not quite as thick or glossy as the old paper stock that DC used to use. It's just a little bit thinner, and it doesn't have quite that glossy finish to it. It's still semi-gloss, don't get me wrong. I'm sure you can probably tell, maybe with some of the glare sometimes. Although I have my lights pretty accurately angled to make sure I get rid of as much glare as possible. But not as glossy as the original. And that binding here, actually, so you can see just the little bit of gutter loss you're going to have through these spread pages right here. But let's compare it to the original printing. Alright, before I actually compare them, I wanted to show you what the eye looked like on the original 2020 printing, since we saw the eye of the new printing. So, old printing on the left, new printing on the right. Let's go ahead and get these open. End sheets are a little lighter over here in the new printing. Wonder Woman by Gail Simone Omnibus. And title pages and the intro right here. Let's get to the actual comic. See what the internal artwork looks like. This looks a little bit darker on the right, just a little bit. Not by much, honestly. The colors are almost identical. Paper stock, as I mentioned, yeah, this is that thick glossy paper DC used to use, and this is the newer semi-gloss. I mean, it is still glossy, don't get me wrong. When you feel it, you're going to be like, what the hell is he talking about? But it just feels different than the original one. This one just has, it's probably the thickness of the paper too that they're using. But honestly, I didn't really notice any bleed-throughs. I mean, we've seen thin paper stock that has had bleed-through, and this one doesn't really appear to be any. So, I mean, if anything, it'll save you some shelf space. That's how I justify keeping the new printings anyway. Not for everyone. Not for everyone. But yeah, there's really no bleed-through coming from the opposite side. And the colors almost, they vary from page to page, but they almost look identical. Yeah, in the new printing or the original printing, there's really no bleed-through coming. Of course, we are looking at a lot of light colors, or dark colors, rather. Let me get to a spread page that I can show here as a comparison. Love these outfits right here. Very, of course, Kingdom Come. But this is the way that the book lays over here in the original printing. And because of the eye, and I know I've said that before on overviews, whenever I'm talking about the eye and the way that the book lays over, you can see more of the artwork. Whereas here you get more of that gutter loss. So some of the art gets lost in there. But this kind of gives you an idea of what the new printing looks like compared to the original one. But that's it. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this omnibus, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this book. Let me know in the comments down below if you already have the omnibus, if you have the trades and hardcovers, or if you had them in single issues, or if you missed out on the book the first time around, and now you want to go and pick it up. So, if you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We are on Spreadshop and Patreon. Amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. But that's it, everyone. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.